Did you know that Portugal once controlled half of the New World? Imagine what secrets and stories are hidden in its past. Today, we will explore 50 fascinating facts about Portugal you may not have heard before. These facts could change your perception of this ancient European country. Rest assured, we have meticulously researched and verified every fact we will share with you in this text. We will take you on a virtual tour of Portugal's rich heritage and vibrant culture. Our journey will cover topics such as the tragic earthquake that nearly wiped Lisbon off the map and the delicious origins of Japanese tempura. We will explore how Portugal has shaped the modern world and why it remains one of the most fascinating countries on the planet. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. 1. What do Portugal and Japan have in common? The Portuguese were the first Europeans to arrive in Japan during the 16th century when European exploration and trade were at their peak. They had a significant cultural influence on this Asian nation, introducing words like pan, meaning bread in Portuguese, and sabato, meaning Saturday in Portuguese, among others. This linguistic influence is a testament to the far-reaching impact of Portuguese exploration and trade during the Age of Discovery, a period that saw the expansion of European influence and the beginning of globalization. This period was marked by intense competition between European powers, with Portugal and Spain leading the way in exploration and colonization. 2. The shortest and longest reigning monarchs. Speaking of lasting impacts, did you know about Portugal's record-holding monarchs? Portugal holds the record for the longest and shortest reigns of monarchs. Henrique of Portugal was the King of Portugal for over 73 years, while Luís Felipe was king for only 20 minutes. 3. The secret recipe for pastéis de nata. One of Portugal's best-kept secrets is the original pastéis de nata, a delightful custard tart. These tarts, with their crispy, creamy, and sweet flavors, are a testament to Portugal's culinary prowess. What's more intriguing is that the recipe for these delicious tarts has been a closely guarded secret by the family since the 19th century, adding a touch of mystery to this fun fact about Portugal. 4. One of the world's oldest universities is in Portugal. Portuguese scholars founded the University of Coimbra in 1290, making it one of the oldest universities in the world. In 2013, the university was granted UNESCO World Heritage Site status. Nowadays, tourists can visit the university's Royal Palace and the Joanine Library. 5. Portugal is one of the world's top surf spots. Portugal's 800 kilometers of Atlantic coastline and temperate climate make it a year-round surfing destination, even if it's not Hawaii. 6. Here's a hot fact. Piri-piri originated in Portugal. Piri-piri, the spicy sauce often used to enhance the taste of Portugal's favorite grilled chicken, owes its creation to Portugal. The main ingredient of this sauce, chili, originated in South America, and the Portuguese took it to Africa, where the blend of chili, garlic, and lemon resulted in the now famous piri-piri sauce. 7. Port wine is Portugal's most famous export and its national drink. Port wine is a sweet red fortified wine produced exclusively in Portugal's UNESCO-listed Douro Valley. The area, which is the third oldest protected wine region in the world, became very popular with the English in the 18th century. I remember my first sip of port wine during a visit to the Douro Valley, and it was a truly memorable experience that I would recommend to any wine lover. The rich history and unique taste of port wine genuinely reflect the essence of Portugal's culture and heritage. 8. Portugal is the world's largest cork producer. Did you know that Portugal is home to the world's largest cork forest and produces over 70% of the world's cork exports? The cork forests, known as montados, are a unique feature of the Portuguese landscape, providing a habitat for diverse flora and fauna. If you're interested in picking up some unique souvenirs, head to a local street market and browse the selection of cork coasters and beautiful cork handbags. 9. Portugal was once mighty. When the Treaty of Tordesillas was signed in 1494, Portugal was given the eastern half of the New World, including Brazil, Asia, Angola, Mozambique, and more African countries. This treaty, negotiated between Spain and Portugal, was a significant event in the Age of Discovery, marking the division of newly discovered lands outside Europe between the two countries. 10. Portugal's colonial empire spanned 600 years, the longest-lived of the modern European empires. Portugal's empire covered 53 countries at its peak. Brazil gained independence in 1822, marking the beginning of the end of Portugal's colonial era. All of Portugal's African colonies became independent by the end of 1975, following a period of decolonization in the mid-20th century. Macau, the last colony, was transferred to China in 1999 after 442 years of occupation, marking the end of Portugal's colonial empire. 11. Portugal was the first European nation to participate in the transatlantic slave trade. As a major colonial power, Portugal was a major player in the global slave trade, enslaving people from Western Africa to the Americas. It was also the first colonial power to abolish slavery, some 50 years before Britain, Spain, France, and the United States. 12. Lisbon is older than Rome and among the oldest cities in Europe. Lisbon has been a city in Portugal since 1147, but it has a history that goes back a couple of thousand years before the country's foundation. In fact, archaeological discoveries from as far back as 1200 BC indicate that the Phoenicians had settlements across what is now Lisbon. This means that Lisbon has been continuously inhabited for over 3,000 years. 13. The oldest diplomatic alliance in the world is the Anglo-Portuguese alliance. The first treaty between the two countries, the Anglo-Portuguese Treaty, emerged back in 1373. Despite a 60-year disruption to the alliance when Portugal and Spain were part of a political union, the Anglo-Portuguese alliance is the world's oldest still in force today. This alliance, which has survived for over 600 years, is a testament to the enduring friendship and mutual interests between the two nations. 14. Portuguese is the official language of 9 other countries. Due to Portugal's aspirations of empire building, Portuguese is now an official language in several countries such as Angola, Brazil, Cabo Verde, East Timor, Equatorial Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Macau, Mozambique, São Tomé and Príncipe, and Goa in India. By the way, you can also learn Portuguese while watching Netflix movies and your favorite TV shows. Check the link in the pinned comment and get 7 days free. 15. Around 81% of Portugal's population are Roman Catholics. Christianity arrived in Portugal during the Roman Empire's rule. Since the First Republic era, 1920 to 1926, there has been a separation between the church and the state. Nonetheless, Catholic moral and legal codes have a strong foundation, and many traditional festivals and fairs have religious origins. As per the 2011 census, 81% of Portugal's population is Catholic. 16. Monks and nuns created some of Portugal's tastiest traditional treats. In Portugal, you can enjoy delicious pastries such as barrigas de freira, Nunes belly, papos de anjo, angel's double chin, and tocinho do céu, fat from heaven. These pastries have a historical connection with the many monasteries and convents in Portugal, where the monks and nuns used egg whites to starch their habits and preserve wine. This practice led to an abundance of leftover egg yolks, which they used to make these tasty cakes and pastries. The tradition of pastry making in monasteries and convents is a unique aspect of Portuguese culinary culture. And these pastries are a delicious testament to this tradition. 17. Lisbon's Livraria Bertrand is the world's oldest bookshop. Livraria Bertrand was founded in 1732 as a single bookshop. Unfortunately, the first store was destroyed during the Great Lisbon earthquake in 1755, which caused extensive damage and claimed the lives of around 60,000 people. However, Livraria Bertrand was able to reopen in 1773 on Rua Garrett, where it still operates to this day. Currently, there are approximately 50 branches of Livraria Bertrand throughout Portugal. 18. Japanese tempura is actually a Portuguese invention. Tempura, a popular Japanese dish, was introduced by Portuguese traders and missionaries in Nagasaki during the 16th century. It consists of deep-fried seafood and vegetables. 19. One Portuguese town made the world's largest omelet. In Santarém, on August 11, 2012, a group of people were feeling hungry and decided to make the world's largest omelet. It took them 6 hours to cook, and they used 145,000 eggs, 400 kilograms of oil, and 100 kilograms of butter to make the omelet. The final weight of the omelet was 6,466 kilograms. 20. Portugal is a world leader in renewable energy. As of July 2014, Portugal generated roughly 70% of its energy from renewable sources like wind, hydro, and solar power. The country has proven in recent years that it can meet all of its domestic electricity needs using renewable sources. The town of Moura houses one of the world's most extensive photovoltaic farms. Portugal has undertaken innovative projects such as the Wind Float, a floating wind farm, and the Wave Roller, which converts the movement of ocean waves into energy and electricity. 21. Portugal became the 6th European country to allow same-sex marriage in 2010. After the fascist Estado Novo regime banned homosexuality and imposed imprisonment for it, the country has come a long way. In fact, it now ranks 7th among 49 European countries for its LGBT human rights record as per the 2019 ILGA Europe Rainbow Country Rankings. 22. Women in Portugal live more than 6 years longer than men. According to 2020 data from Statistics Portugal, there is a notable gender gap in life expectancy in Portugal. Men have a life expectancy of 78.7 years, while women have a life expectancy of 83.67 years. 23. Sport Lisboa e Benfica is the world's most supported football club. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Benfica had more than 233,000 members as of June 2019. 24. Football icon Cristiano Ronaldo is Portuguese. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born in 1985 in Funchal, the capital of the Madeira region. He is a world-famous football player who has enjoyed a remarkable career with major football clubs such as Manchester United, Real Madrid, and Juventus. Ronaldo is widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. 25. Lisbon was almost destroyed by an earthquake, followed by a tsunami 40 minutes later. On November 1st, 1755, Lisbon experienced a massive earthquake during the celebration of All Saints' Day. The earthquake lasted between 3 and 6 minutes, causing cracks up to 5 meters, 16 feet, wide in the city center. About 40 minutes later, a tsunami swept through the harbor and downtown area, rushing up the Tagus River. The tsunami happened so quickly that people on horseback had to gallop as fast as they could to avoid being carried away. 2 more waves followed. As a result of the earthquake, candles were lit for All Saints' Day throughout the city, and homes and churches were knocked over. The tsunami receded, leaving the city to burn furiously for hours. The blaze was so intense that people up to 100 feet away were asphyxiated by the smoke. It is uncertain how many people died in the disaster, but it is believed to be in the tens of thousands. The earthquake destroyed around 85% of Lisbon's buildings, including famous palaces and libraries, as well as most examples of Portugal's distinctive 16th century Manueline architecture. The earthquake had significant economic and political consequences, destroying Lisbon as a thriving capital city in a single day. It took several decades to rebuild the city into what it is today. 26. The Portuguese love fish. Portugal is the world's third largest consumer of fish, after Japan and Iceland. Fish is a significant part of the Mediterranean diet, and visitors often rave about Portugal's fish specialties. 27. Heavy smoking. Smoking is widespread in Portugal, with people still smoking indoors in some places, despite the implementation of anti-smoking laws. Expect to see smoking everywhere at all times. 28. The name Silva. Silva is the most popular surname in Portugal. How many people know the surname Silva? I personally know 3. 29. Fado. The traditional music style of Portugal is called fado. It is often described as melancholic or nostalgic. This musical genre relies on the mastery of stringed instruments, particularly the Portuguese guitar and the singer's voice. If you ever have the chance to visit Portugal, make sure you attend a live fado performance. It will be a unique and unforgettable experience for you. 30. The Dead Queen. In the past, a Portuguese prince named Dom Pedro fell in love with one of his wife's ladies-in-waiting, Inês de Castro. However, their story is a tragic one. King Afonso IV, Pedro's father, ordered Inês's assassination, leaving Pedro heartbroken. When Pedro became king, he took revenge by killing the assassins and earning the nickname Dom Pedro, the Cruel. It is unclear whether Pedro and Inês made secret vows to each other, but Pedro made Inês Queen of Portugal even after her death. Although it may seem creepy, their story is one of love and loss. 31. Coimbra, 1290. Portugal is the proud home of one of Europe's oldest universities, which is known as the University of Coimbra. This prestigious university was founded in 1290 by Dom Dinis, who was the king of Portugal at the time. The university gained a great reputation throughout Europe, and Portuguese doctors were often employed by the courts of European monarchs. 32. One country, 3 continents. Although the Madeira archipelago belongs to Portugal and the Azores archipelago is part of Europe, Madeira is situated in Africa and the Azores are located in the Americas. 33. The South American capital. Rio de Janeiro was once the capital city of Portugal. It didn't last long, though. 34. Portuguese flag. The Portuguese flag has a green and red stripe and a national coat of arms adopted in 1911. The green symbolizes hope, and the red represents those who died for Portugal's defense. The coat of arms includes an armillary sphere and the Portuguese shield. The 5 blue shields represent the wounds of Christ and the miracle of Ourique. The 7 yellow castles around the blue shields are traditionally explained as the 7 castles Alfonso II conquered from the Moors. 35. Seasons. Portugal boasts a Mediterranean climate, making it the perfect destination for those seeking the sun. With an average of 3,000 sunny hours per year in the southern part of the country, it has the highest number of sunny days in Europe, surpassing even Spain, Italy, and Greece. Although the entire country has a Mediterranean climate, each region has its own unique characteristics. The Douro Valley and the inland regions in the southern part of the country, including the Algarve, experience very hot and dry summers. On the other hand, the west coast and northern part of the country, with the exception of the Douro Valley, have milder temperatures during the summer. 36. Religions. 85% of the Portuguese population are Roman Catholics. However, since the First Portuguese Republic, 1910 to 1926, the state and the church have been separated, and therefore Roman Catholicism is not the official religion of Portugal. 37. The Lisbon Aquarium is the largest indoor aquarium in Europe. The Oceanarium in Lisbon is the largest indoor aquarium in Europe. It was established as a part of the 1998 Expo, which was dedicated to oceans and celebrated the 500-year jubilees of the discovery of the sea route to India. The aquarium was expanded in 2011 and now houses over 15,000 different animals. The central attraction of the Oceanarium is a gigantic tank that simulates 4 ecosystems: the 3 oceans and the southern polar sea. 38. Population. Portugal's population is over 10 million, with 500,000 people residing in the capital and 2.8 million people living in the greater Lisbon metropolitan area. 39. Districts. Portugal's mainland is divided into 18 districts, which are as follows: Lisbon, Leira, Santarém, Setúbal, Beja, Faro, Évora, Porto Alegre, Castelo Branco, Guarda, Coimbra, Aveiro, Viseu, Bragança, Vila Real, Porto, Braga, and Viana do Castelo. In addition to the mainland, Portugal also has 2 autonomous regions, the Azores and Madeira. These regions have their own organic laws, regional governments, and administration due to their distance, geographic context, and isolation. 40. One of the most popular attractions in Lisbon is a tram ride. Many tourists do not usually include a tram ride in their list of must-do activities. However, in Lisbon, riding the iconic yellow old remodelado trams is a notable exception. Some of these trams have been in service since 1930. Yet they continue to serve with distinction and will likely continue to do so for years to come. The most popular route for tourists is Tram 28, which takes approximately 50 minutes to cover all the famous landmarks in Lisbon. This road is so famous among tourists that the trams are often packed with travelers from the starting point, and no one can board the tram at the stops along the way. 41. Portugal has one of the most beautiful McDonald's. This McDonald's restaurant is situated in Porto and is housed in the building that was once the famous Café Imperial, known for its Art Deco style. When McDonald's took over the building in 1995, they made sure to restore the complete structure and preserve all the original details. This McDonald's is widely regarded as the most beautiful one in the world. 42. In Nazaré, you can find some of the biggest waves in the world. Nazaré is a charming, historic fishing village located about an hour and a half's drive from Lisbon. The village is famous for its giant waves, which attract numerous surfers and tourists from around the world. These waves are produced by the presence of the Nazaré North Canyon, an underwater canyon that alters the direction and speed of the waves to create larger swells. In fact, the waves in Nazaré have become such a spectacle that they have become a major tourist attraction in their own right. In 2017, Rodrigo Coxa set a new world record by surfing the biggest wave ever surfed in Nazaré, riding a wave that measured 24 meters, 80 feet. If you want to witness these incredible waves for yourself, the best time to visit Nazaré is during the winter months between October and March. 43. Codfish is considered the national dish of Portugal. Codfish, also known as bacalhau, is considered to be Portugal's national food. It can be prepared in various ways, such as fried, grilled, baked, and canned. It is said that there are more than 1,000 recipes for preparing codfish in Portugal alone. 44. The Portuguese pirate Bartholomew drew up the first pirate code. The Pirate Code was a set of guidelines for pirates that outlined rules for behavior, discipline, and the distribution of stolen goods. 45. Between 1926 and 1974, Portugal was governed by a military dictatorship. The Portuguese dictatorship, one of the longest in Europe, was heavily criticized after World War II. The peaceful Carnation Revolution finally ended the dictatorship on April 25, 1974. 46. Portugal had a huge influence on world cuisine. Portugal's cuisine may not be considered refined in today's world, but it was the origin of several famous dishes that we enjoy today. For instance, the Portuguese Jesuit missionaries invented tempura, which is a dish of battered and deep-fried vegetables and seafood in Japan. Interestingly, Africa's popular spicy piri-piri sauce, which is widely enjoyed around the world, is not invented on that continent. Its origins can be traced back to the Algarve, a region in Portugal. Additionally, the Portuguese introduced chili pepper potatoes and tomatoes to India and Thailand, without which curry wouldn't exist. Not to mention, they also brought coffee to Brazil and the ukulele to Hawaii. 47. Drugs were decriminalized in Portugal in 2001. Although drug possession is still considered illegal, if the amount of drugs you possess is no more than what is needed for a personal 10-day supply, it will now be classified as an administrative offense rather than a criminal offense. Since this change in the law, the percentage of drug addicts has nearly halved. 48. Portugal has one of the highest emigration rates in the EU. In 2017, over 2.3 million Portuguese people resided outside of Portugal, which is equivalent to 1 in every 5 Portuguese citizens. 49. The first cross-border zip line goes from Spain to Portugal. Looking for a unique way to cross the border? Check out the Limit Zero zip line located in the Algarve. You'll soar across the Guadiana River, traveling from Spain to Portugal. The best part? You'll gain an hour by crossing the time zone! The zip line covers a distance of 720 meters and reaches speeds of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. It's an unforgettable experience. Before we get to the last one, just to make sure you've liked and subscribed, right? 50. In Portugal, specific first names are not permitted. The government has a comprehensive 80-page guide that lists the baby names that are allowed and those that are forbidden. For instance, foreign names such as Aiden, Ashley, Bruce, Charlotte, Dylan, and Jenny are not allowed to be given to Portuguese babies. Additionally, the guide specifies that babies must be given full names and nicknames or abbreviations are not allowed. While names like Thomas or Catherine are acceptable, using Tom or Kate as names for your children is not allowed. So, what is the most unusual law or tradition you've encountered in your travels or cultural explorations?